Hello, listeners, and welcome to Boomerang. This week it is Team 4 bringing you the news taken with permission from the West Lothian Courier, published on Thursday, the 12th of December 2024. And our readers today are Jackie, Kate, Alison, and Joyce. Harry is our recorder and copier, and Joan and Margaret will organise the distribution of the wallets later. As usual, there will be 4 parts. Parts 1, 2 and 3 will be general news, no family announcements this week. And in Part 4 there will be some sports news. Quiz questions will be included in Parts 1 and 3, and the answers will be included in Parts 2 and 4. A wee change this week. Team 4's previous recording was at the end of October, and the weather was really mild back then. This week has been decidedly chilly, with frost and a raw feeling in the air, but I suppose it is December after all. Can I remind you that when you have finished listening to the recording, put the memory stick back into the blue wallet, turn the address label over and post it back to us here in Whitburn from a post box. Please do not send it from a post office. So, let's get started with the lead story this week and Kate.
Kids' Christmas show at risk after gymnastic base destroyed in fire. 35 firefighters tackle blaze at estate by Debbie Hall. Devastated kids from a West Lothian gymnastic club might not be able to put on their Christmas show after a massive fire ripped through their base. Youngsters from Livingston's Astro Gymnastics had to be dramatically evacuated on Saturday as the blaze took hold in a nearby unit at Brucefield Industrial Estate. Luckily, nobody was injured, but the fire has destroyed their base, surrounding units, and equipment used by the youngsters was also destroyed. Locals responded straight away and offered to help the club find a new home and start a fundraiser. The kids had been working hard and were looking forward to showing off their talents to loved ones this week, but coaches say they won't be able to secure a new venue in time. A spokesperson said, "Unfortunately, given the time available to reorganise and the size of the venue needed to host this spectacular event, we would need around 200 places per show. We won't be able to do all the planning Christmas shows this week." We have been inundated with kind offers of help, for which we are truly grateful, and are looking at options that might work. We are focusing on the well-being of the coaches and gymnasts this week as we work with the landlord, insurers and the fire service and seek advice to get a plan in place for our recovery. The fierce blaze took hold on Saturday afternoon, December 7th. At several units at Brucefield Industrial Estate in Livingston, as around 30 firefighters were sent to tackle the inferno. Firefighters remained at the scene nearly 24 hours after fire broke out. Crews worked overnight to contain flames, and dramatic footage showed the fire ravaging through the roof as thick pockets of smoke spread from the premises into the West Lothian sky. The incident could be seen for miles, with the thick column of smoke spotted from as far away as Fife. Shocking images have shown the devastating aftermath of the inferno. Police say inquiries into the circumstances surrounding the blaze are ongoing. And this article is accompanied by 3 pictures, and one of them is of the rooftops of all the units, and they're completely collapsed. Another is the devastating outside of the building, and the third, which is rather dramatic, has got huge, thick black plumes of smoke rising hundreds of feet above the units.
Charity is blown away by school toy appeal help. And this is by Debbie Hall. Big-hearted pupils from Armadale Academy have been making sure no child goes without this Christmas. The school again supported West Lothian charity River Kids and its toy appeal, asking families to dig deep and support those who will struggle this festive season. Pupils on the S6 Charity Committee, which organised the appeal, and their teachers said the charity was blown away by the response from the school community. English teacher Karen Riley explained, "We have been working with River Kids at Christmas for the last few years, and we know that their referrals increase year on year. We like to help out if we can, so we pushed a toy appeal with our staff, pupils and parents, carers. The response was phenomenal, and we collected a huge amount, probably the biggest amount we have collected to date." Stephen Newman from the charity said he was blown away by the response and that it would go a long way to help them fulfil their referrals. River Kids thanked the school for all its hard work again this year, adding, "Thank you to everyone at Armadale Academy who have clearly been busy pulling together this donation. Absolutely blown away by the generosity of so many who have contributed to this project. Special thanks to the S6 Charity Committee for coordinating. The West Lothian Toy Appeal brings out the very best in people." River Kids was co-founded in October 2005 by Wendy Simpson and Donnie Hughes. They believed West Lothian needed a charity which focused on benefiting disadvantaged local children and children's groups. Their first fundraising event took place on November the 4th, 2005, via a bucket collection. From this, £600 was given to St John's Hospital and £100 given to a local child who was travelling to Japan for specialist treatment. From there, River Kids has grown from strength to strength and celebrated its 19th birthday this year. The charity firmly believes that no child should go without. Volunteers and staff enable positive change for disadvantaged children and their families by providing them with essential goods, clothing and toys, access to financial support through small grants, and help with finding employment through volunteering and work placements. The charity's dedicated team members and volunteers work closely with support and social care services to raise standards of living, alleviate stress, and provide opportunities for the young people of West Lothian to thrive. And this is accompanied by two photographs, one small photograph showing students Evie, Lara, Ellie and Rebecca looking at some of the toys, and a larger photograph, and it's got the full committee there. The S6 Charity Commission, there's Evie, Lara, Ellie and Rebecca with Stephen Newman from River Kids, the teachers Rebecca Scott, Karen Riley and head teacher Nicola Barker Harrison. And the array of toys in front of them, I don't know how many there are, but there's teddy bears, there's games, there's and here's lots of little cars there, and just absolutely amazing. And these people have done so well, and they're looking so happy at what they've managed to achieve.
50% of people sought help by Stuart Somerville. Almost half the population of West Lothian sought information and help with financial problems during a recent week of action. The Challenge Poverty Week in West Lothian saw close to 90,000 people accessing a range of events. The annual event, in which the council is joined by community planning partners and outside agencies, offers advice on services ahead of the winter months. First introduced in 2013, the event, organised by the Poverty Alliance, is an initiative aimed at raising awareness about poverty and its impact and promoting solutions to tackle it. The Council's online services and social media are increasingly being developed to open doors to advice and information. It provides a platform for individuals, communities and organisations from the more than 180,000 people who live in the county to come together and discuss ways to improve financial well-being. In a report to the Council's Corporate Policy and Resources Policy Development and Scrutiny Panel, Nahid Hanif, the Anti-Poverty Service Manager, said, "Annually, the Anti-Poverty Service leads on the development of a programme of events and engagement delivered in partnership with Tackling Poverty partners and designed to showcase the different ways we can tackle poverty in West Lothian and engage with the public to encourage self-referrals and take-up of advice and support." Each year, the Poverty Alliance sets a number of themes to challenge Poverty Week. For 2024, the week was split into 5 different daily themes of housing, transport, adequate incomes, food, and communities and volunteers. Early feedback from the opening conference and subsequent seminars and information days has been positive, Ms Hanif said. Data compiled by the Council shows there were 86,207 interactions with events online over the week in early October. The largest interaction online came from the Poverty and Trauma Conference, which attracted 16,421 impressions. The report said, "The conference, which had 65 delegates from a range of organisations in attendance, was opened by Councillor Andrew Maguire and included a keynote speech delivered by the West Lothian trauma champion, Pauline Cochrane, a very well-received lived experience account by Ginty Dobson, who now works as a peer navigator supporting students at West Lothian College, and rounded off with a choice of 3 themed workshops where delegates could discuss and explore practical solutions to supporting trauma-experienced individuals. Feedback comments included, "Once again a fantastic and informative event. The lived experience was particularly inspiring," and "A really positive outlook on partnership supports is what I found most beneficial." The report also highlighted how the Council and other agencies are developing online advice platforms to widen access to services. Ms Hanif said, other online presence included a remote online advised clinic delivered through the Attend Anywhere platform, daily social media posts, and an online Ask the Advisor session, which was particularly successful at raising awareness and engaging the local community, with a final reach of over 20,000 and almost 200 interactions, composed of 151 comments, 19 shares, 2 saves and 24 reactions. The Ask the Advisor session also received 12 contacts from customers through direct messenger on Facebook and via email.
National insurance rise is cost to Council. Staffing costs at West Lothian Council are expected to rise as a result of the UK Government rise in the national insurance rates, councillors have been told. The rise will come on top of a £7 million overspend and surging costs in the health and social care portfolio. And it is not yet clear how much the new rate will add to the Council's wage bill. The Westminster Government brought in a rise in employers' national insurance contributions, NIC, earlier this year. From April 2025, employer NIC will increase from 13.8% to 15%. Employers will start to pay employer NICs on salaries from $5,000, reduced from $9,010. The legal minimum wage for over 21s will rise from £11.44 to £12.21 per hour. Councillors on the Social Work and Health Policy Development and Scrutiny Panel, the PDSP, heard a 6 months monitoring report on the financial performance in health and social care. There are already budget pressures in internal care homes and housing with care services, which are related to additional costs to cover for vacancies, staff absences due to sickness and sleepover costs. Councillor Pauline Clark, SNP, asked, "Do you think that the national insurance increase will affect the health and social work budget in the years to come?" Group accountant Fiona Russell said, It's yet to be determined in terms of funding for the application of the increase in national insurance contributions. So until that's clarified, we cannot determine what the implications would be. Councillor Clark pressed, but there will be an implication on one way or another, whether funding is increased or not. I would assume that the national insurance increase is going to affect all health care, I suppose. The accountant replied, "It is anticipated that there will be higher costs, but in terms of the implications for the council, we await for further information around what level of funding will be. Once that's available, we'll be in a clear position to determine what the position would be." Some councils, including Edinburgh, have already revealed that they will face huge bills for the rise in wage costs because of the NI increase, while others, including West Lothian, have maintained silence. In West Lothian, the social work and health portfolio is forecast to overspend by $7.347 million in 2024 to 2025. The forecast position for adults and older people services is an overspend of $6.096 million. The most significant contributor to the overspend is in commissioned care, in both care at home and residential and across all client groups. This is due to an unprecedented level of growth in demand for the service, both in terms of client numbers and in overall complexity of care needed per individual. A West Lothian Council spokesperson said, "We are still awaiting clarification from the Scottish Government of the funding that will be provided to cover the cost of the increase in employers' NI contribution announced in the UK budget."
The next heading, Man 51 arrested after a dog dies. A 51-year-old West Lothian man has been arrested and charged after a dog was allegedly mauled to death. Officers said the incident took place at around 12:45 a.m. on Saturday, November the 30th, on Holygate Place, Broxburn. Neighbours reported being woken up to sounds of a small dog squealing in pain at around this time. Police Scotland added a dog suffered serious injuries and later died after being rushed to a nearby vet's. A Police Scotland spokesperson said, "We were called around 12:45 a.m. on Saturday, 30th November 2024, to a report of a dog attacking another dog in the Holygate Place area of Broxburn. The injured dog sustained serious injuries and was taken to a vet, however later died. The other dog was taken to kennels. A 30-year-old man attended hospital as a precaution. A 51-year-old man was being arrested. A 51-year-old man has been arrested and charged in connection with the Dangerous Dogs Act and is due to appear in court."
Musical Tales from Composer. The award-winning film composer of musical scores for films like Brave, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, and Thor visited senior pupils at 2 Blackburn primary schools recently. Murrayfield and Blackburn primary schools welcomed Patrick Doyle, who has composed music for a huge number of famous film and movie projects. Classically trained composer Patrick, who is originally from Uddingston in neighbouring South Lanarkshire, shared some of his experiences from the glittering career in theatre, film and TV. His talk provided a fascinating insight into the role of composer, as well as sharing incredible tales of his time on film sets around the world, which has included working with legendary directors such as Kenneth Branagh and Mike Newell, and in famous movies including Carlito's Way, Nanny McPhee and Bridget Jones' Diary. Blackburn and Murrayfield head teacher Kevin McCabe said, "It was fantastic to welcome Patrick Doyle to speak to pupils from both Murrayfield and Blackburn primaries. Patrick has had an amazing career composing music for a wide range of top films and movies, and shared stories from his time working on them. Many thanks to Patrick for giving up his time to come and speak to us and perhaps inspire some of our pupils to consider a career in music or the arts in the future. And alongside this story, there's a lovely photograph of some children from the primary schools sitting on the stage beside the composer himself, Patrick Doyle, and also the head teacher, Kevin McCabe.
And now we will have the first part of the quiz for this week. Just the first 5 questions. Question 1. Of what form of surgery are skin grafts and facelifts examples? Is it neurosurgery, plastic surgery, or orthopaedic surgery? Question 2. What term for excellent cookery is derived from a blue ribbon worn by members of a French order of knighthood? Is it cordon bleu, haute cuisine, or gourmet cooking? Question 3. Which aquatic bird has Canada, barnacle, and Brent varieties? Is it swan, duck, or goose? Question 4. With what sort of music are Woody Guthrie and Joan Baez associated? Is it folk, rock, or jazz? And the last question in this round. Which British author wrote The History of Mr. Polly? Was it George Orwell, H.G. Wells, or Virginia Woolf? Those are the first round questions, and the answers will be given in the next part in Part 2. Welcome to Part 2, and we will start with the quiz answers. Question 1. Of what form of surgery are skin grafts and facelifts examples? That is plastic surgery. Question 2. What term for excellent cookery is derived from a blue ribbon worn by members of a French order of knighthood? It is cordon bleu. Question 3. Which aquatic bird has Canada, barnacle, and Brent varieties? That's a goose. Question 4. With what sort of music are Woody Guthrie and Joan Baez associated? That's folk music. And question 5. Which British author wrote The History of Mr. Polly? That was H.G. Wells. Well, I hope you were successful with our Part 1 quiz. Part 2 will appear in Part 3 of our recording. So now we will move on to general news once more, and Kate.
Cosy cuddles for newborns pioneered by proud Stacey. Midwife's inspiring invention. And there's a picture along with this story, and it's of the midwife, Stacey, with a very young couple and a new baby, along with one of Stacey's colleagues, and they're all looking absolutely delighted, having been the first to try this invention. A West Lothian midwife has created a special set of scrubs with a kangaroo-style pouch for birth partners to allow vital skin-to-skin contact to take place as soon as baby is born. Stacey Boyle, a midwife with NHS Lothian, has invented the new product that has the potential to revolutionise neonatal care and improve outcomes for tiny newborn babies. Babies delivered by caesarean section can be carefully placed into the sling-like pouch worn by the birth partner while the surgical team focus on the mum and the completion of the procedure. It means that the baby can nestle inside the scrubs and reap all the benefits of life-changing skin-to-skin contact, which has been proven to regulate temperature, stabilise heartbeat, support steady breathing, and even help with early feeding, as well as improve long-term health outcomes. Stacey, 41, came up with the pioneering idea while working in the theatre at St John's Hospital, Livingston, and noticed how challenging skin-to-skin contact was for a mum after childbirth. She said, "We know how good skin-to-skin can be, but it can also be challenging because of the size of the theatre table. Most women were uncomfortable trying to do it, and it can be unsafe for babies when mums are lying flat. More and more birth partners were interested in stepping up to do skin-to-skin in the interim, but it meant they would have to take off their scrub tops while the baby was placed on their chest and covered with blankets or towels. That doesn't really sustain or assist in keeping babies warm, and a lot of partners felt self-conscious. It was then that I wondered if there was a way for partners to have skin-to-skin contact without taking off their scrubs."
Stacey approached her line manager, Marianne Hay, charge midwife, and together they turned her idea into a reality by helping to design and trial different types of material that would help keep babies at the right temperature. Marianne said, "We made 3 different prototypes and we found the most effective design to be the one where we used a recycled NHS fleece jacket as the covering material with a secure Velcro opening which was altered onto newly purchased scrubs. Our amazing sewing room staff, ward clerks and laundry staff have been truly amazing in helping us to create this wonderful garment. I am so very proud of Stacey for all the work she has done, and most importantly, for believing in herself to create something that positively helps babies and their families following birth. After a huge team effort and lots of positive feedback from patients, Cozy Cuddle Scrubs by Stacey was born." Alison MacDonald, Nurse Director, NHS Lothian, said, "I couldn't be prouder of Stacey for her innovation and all the teams that have helped bring it to life. Her dedication to improve care for newborns and birthing partners is truly inspiring. By creating a solution that allows partners to provide vital skin-to-skin contact, she has taken an important step toward enhancing neonatal care and supporting families in those precious first moments." Alongside NHS Lothian's research and development team, former NHS Scotland partner InnoScot Health helped protect and register the design. It means that Cozy Cuddle Scrubs by Stacey can now become more widely available through manufacturing partners. Fiona Schaefer, East of Scotland Innovation Manager for InnoScot Health, said, "Cozy Cuddle Scrubs by Stacey is a game-changing innovation for promoting skin-to-skin contact with newborns. This is a fantastic example of the value of ideas emerging from within NHS Scotland. The scrubs have the potential to reach hospitals across the UK and possibly even globally, improving neonatal care and outcomes for families."
And as part of the same story, this is a report on a family who have used the Cozy Cuddle Scrubs. The Keane family from Bathgate are among some of the happy families who've already used the Cozy Cuddle Scrubs by Stacey. Mum Sarah, 28, HR People Coordinator, gave birth to their baby girl, Ayla Keane, on November 20th this year, following a caesarean section. Dad Michael, aged 28, project manager, and Sarah already have a 5-year-old boy called Callan and a 2-year-old girl called Freya, so were intrigued by the scrubs, as that looked very different to the scrubs he wore the first 2 times. They also told him about all of the short and long-term health benefits for the baby and for birth partners. Research has shown that birth partners who enjoy the special moments also feel more connected, with research showing they experience lower anxiety and depression. Michael jumped at the chance, and he was able to provide that vital contact while the surgical teams focused on Sarah. Sarah said, "The scrubs Michael wore this time were very different from those at the birth of our 2 children. In our previous procedures, skin-to-skin contact was not made with our babies until I was in recovery, approximately 30 minutes after they'd been born. It was incredible. Ayla was crying very loudly while her cord was being cut and when she was being weighed, but as soon as she was inside the scrubs with Michael, she settled and was very content. They were both able to sit next to me while my surgery was completed and I was moved into the recovery room. When Michael had to leave the room immediately previously with the previous scrubs. Michael said having that skin-to-skin contact with Ayla was an incredibly magical moment, and it meant so much to be able to stay with her and my wife throughout the entire process. The scrubs were really comfortable, and it was so easy to secure Ayla in the pouch, keeping her wrapped up and cradled safely. I would highly recommend them to anyone wanting to create that special bonding moment with their newborn. And there's a beautiful photograph of the proud parents, Sarah and Michael. And Michael is sitting down. He's wearing these scrubs, so it's like a sort of pouch made of this blue fleece material that's been stitched onto the front of existing scrubs. And inside you can see the baby's head just at the top of Michael's chest and under his chin. And the baby looks incredibly comfortable. Michael's holding her head with one hand and supporting her bottom with the other. And they all look very comfortable indeed. And proud mum Sarah is standing nearby looking on.
Council tenants face rent increase. Council tenants in West Lothian are facing a rent increase of £3 a week next year under plans to be put to the residents. West Lothian Council tenants will be asked for their views on the plans, which would see rent increases by 3.5%. But SNP housing spokesman Robert DeBold complained that it was hardly proper consultation if tenants were given only one figure to consider. A meeting of the Housing Services Policy Development and Scrutiny Panel, the PDSP, agreed to ask the Executive to press ahead with annual rent strategy consultation this week. Tenants will be asked online and by letter if they support the 3.5% increase. The PDSP heard a report from Kirsty Weir, a performance and change manager with the Housing Department, who said the average weekly rent for homes is projected to be £89.14 in 25 to 26, up from £86.13 in 24-25. For garages, the weekly rent will rise from £6.71 in 2025 to 26, up from £6.48 in 24-25. The 3.5% annual rent increase will support the delivery of a minimum of 409 additional council houses through new builds and open market acquisitions, with an average of £24.5 million per year being invested in the existing housing stock. The Council's preventative approach to manage rent arrears will help mitigate the impact of the rent increase. Housing officers will continue to collaborate with the advice shop to help tenants maximise their income and improve budgeting skills. In February last year, the Council approved a 3.5% annual rent strategy, along with the updated Housing Revenue Account Financial Plan and Housing Capital Investment Programme for the 5-year period from 2023-24 to 27-28. Both the approved financial plans and investment programme are based on an annual rent increase of 3.5% for the duration of the strategy period. In light of these requirements, it is proposed that the tenant engagement will occur over a 2-month period through social media channels, the West Lothian Council website, and by letter for tenants aged over 60 and over. Mrs. Weir confirmed a question from Councillor DeBold as to whether 3.5% was the sole figure tenants would be asked to consider, adding, we do take into consideration all comments that come forthwith. Councillor DeBold asked if the council would then be beholden to implement that figure at rent setting at the budget. Mrs. Weir replied, no council can consider any option that is put forth, but again we would give a full overview of the feedback that we got from our tenants. Councillor DeBold told the meeting, I do not believe consulting on a solitary figure is actually a proper consultation, and many tenants are likely to be aware that there are needs within the housing portfolio.
Festive cheer as lights switch on. It was a weekend of fantastic festive fun in Bathgate as Christmas came to town. Locals flocked to the town on Saturday for the Christmas lights being switched on, and they also enjoyed some great food and entertainment. And the wet and windy weather didn't dampen spirits as shoppers picked up some brilliant bargains at Bathgate Market's Christmas event, which had moved to the precinct for the weekend. It was a wonderful weekend to remember as always. Thanks to Scotland from Above and Bathgate Market and Car Boot Sale for the pictures. And there's a double spread here, and dominating the two pages, it's evidently a drone photograph, and it's looking down on the precinct and the people and the stalls and the Christmas tree with the tinsel going from the top of the tree right to the bottom. It's absolutely beautiful. And the other pictures, and there's one which I particularly like, and it's showing you from behind a group of mums and dads holding toddlers in their arms, and the toddlers are all wrapped up with their hats and their warm winter jackets, listening to the brass band. And that was taken obviously in the precinct. Now there's other photographs. There's photographs of people standing at stalls, people standing behind stalls, selling all sorts of goods. And there's a picture of the town crier. I didn't even know we had a town crier, dressed in traditional Scottish style, kilt, and chieftain style with his shawl over his shoulder, ringing a bell, telling everyone that the market is now open. And great time had by all.
Award means the world from cadets that encourage me to be my very best. Volunteer delighted at special honour. A West Lothian volunteer has been recognised with an award for her outstanding commitment to cadets. For the past 5 years, the Cadet Adult Recognition Awards, known as CARAs, has sought to acknowledge the dedication and selflessness of the Cadet Force adult volunteers who give their time and talents to help young people aged 12 to 18 develop new skills, prepare for adult life, and make friendships that can last a lifetime. And this year, Livingston local Flying Officer Chelsea Louise Rennie was awarded the Air Cadets East Award. On winning a CARA, she said, I'm delighted to have won one of this year's CARAs. To have won this award means so much because it's voted for by the cadets, and they're the reason I volunteer. When asked what the cadets meant to her, new mum Rennie replied with a wry smile, the cadets are like children I never knew I had. They challenge you every single day and they encourage you to be your best. If they don't want to do something, seeing you do it and facing the fear for yourself makes them want to face their fear and try something for the first time. Winning a CARA encourages me to keep going as a volunteer because it's evident the work we put in is appreciated by the young people we do it for. Taking a runner-up spot in the Lothian and Borders category was Company Sergeant Holmes of 29 Platoon Whitburn Detachment. All nominations for the CARAs are submitted by cadet members of the Army Cadet Force, Sea Cadet Corps and Air Training Corps. Now in its 5th year, the CARAs 2024 received a record number of nominations, highlighting the immense admiration the cadets have for their adult instructors. Kate Johnson, Lowland RFCA Head of Communications, said, "Focused on developing and prospering the next generation, CFAVs work tirelessly to deliver fun and helpful training for cadets. Year after year, these volunteers selflessly support and engage these young people. Whilst the CFAVs provide fun, challenge and adventure, they also help the cadets to bolster their CVs and to prepare them for life after cadets and school. Well done to all of this year's winners. You clearly mean a lot to your cadets and are making a real difference to their lives." As well as receiving a prestigious CARAS certificate, each winner was also presented with a gift voucher sponsored by a local business. This gives Lowland organisations an opportunity to show support for the hard-working adult volunteers, some of whom are members of their own workforces. And there's a picture of Cara, of Chelsea Louise Rennie. She's wearing her Air Cadets blue top and she's holding her notification and she's giving a big proud smile and well done to her.
Pipe Band AGM by Debbie Hall. One of West Lothian's best loved bands is holding an important meeting this month. People's Ford, Baughall and Bathgate Caledonian Pipe Band will hold its AGM on Thursday, December the 19th from 8 p.m. to 9:45 p.m. It will be held at Lodge St Andrews Masonic Hall, 3 Nelburn Road, Deans, Livingston. In June this year, the band was thrilled to be crowned 2024 British champions for the first time since 1986 under the late PM Bob Martin. The band's novice junior band also took third place in the NGB final of the World Pipe Band Championships.
Festive fun at 41 Club. Linlithgow and District 41 Club members enjoyed a sherry and port evening after their Christmas dinner, which was held in the local golf club. On hand was 41 Club member Alistair Campbell, who is employed in the drinks industry, to present an enlightening talk on the nuances of sherry and port, whilst handing out generous samples to the welcoming members. In Alistair's talk was a cocktail session where he produced some much-loved concoctions. I think I'd been at the sherry, using both sherry and port as the base spirits. In his talk, amongst other things, he soon debunked the myth that red grapes produce a red wine and green grapes produced white. In his vote of thanks, Chairman Robin McAdam thanked Alistair for all his hard work in setting up what had proved to be an informative, entertaining and thoroughly enjoyable evening. And there's a photograph here of members of the 41 Club, and they're resplendent in their festive jumpers. And I've just got to pick out one of the gentlemen's jumpers, bright red with a big penguin with a green Christmas Santa hat on, green bow tie. This penguin's looking really smart. And there's sort of white snowflakes all above it. Another festive jumper is a striped item with bands of snowmen, snowflakes and reindeers. And I've got to say, these men are certainly looking very jolly. They must have had a grand time.
And that brings us to the end of part 2. In part 3, there will be the second part of the quiz to look forward to. Welcome to part 3, and we will begin with the second part of the quiz. Question 1. Which inland sea is bordered by Bulgaria, Romania, Turkey, and parts of the former Soviet Union? Is it the Mediterranean Sea? Is it the Black Sea? Or is it the Red Sea? Question 2. By what name is nacre, that's spelt N-A-C-R-E, nacre, popularly known? Is it mother of pearl, amber, or abalone? Question 3. With which alcoholic drink is the town of Cognac associated? Is it brandy, whiskey, or vodka? Which charity, this is question 4, which charity is represented by the initials NSPCC? Is it Oxfam, Red Cross, or the National Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Children? And question 5. Of which British city was Joseph Chamberlain mayor? Was it Birmingham, Liverpool, or Manchester? Answers will be given in part 4. So now we're going back to general news and Alison.
Victim Support is ready to help by Debbie Hall. Victim Support Scotland, VSS, is encouraging people who have been impacted by crime in West Lothian to get in touch for emotional and practical support over the festive period. The independent charity works in communities across Scotland, offering in-person support alongside a helpline and web chat service that can provide support remotely. The charity's Emergency Assistance Fund, the EAF, can also provide support to people who have urgent need of financial help as a direct result of crime. Accessible to people with no alternative funding options, the EAF covers various essential goods and services, for example food, utilities, clothing, travel or security equipment. Importantly, applications to the EAF will continue to be processed over the festive period. Staff and volunteers will be available to assist, considering the urgent nature of this support. Victim Support Scotland services are easily accessible online, by phone or through in-person appointments. Local offices will remain open throughout the country. Call the free support helpline on 0800 160 1985 or visit victimsupport.scot. Opening times on Christmas Day, Boxing Day and New Year's Day are 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Standard opening times are Monday to Friday 8 a.m. to 8 p.m, Saturday to Sunday 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Kate Wallace, Chief Executive of Victim Support Scotland, said, "Crime doesn't stop over the festive period, and neither does our team at Victim Support Scotland. We know that this time of year can feel isolating for people impacted by crime. It's so important that people know that we are still open and ready to provide support on Christmas Day, Boxing Day and New Year's Day. A compassionate and knowledgeable conversation can go a long way to easing anxiety, and we can offer that and more."
Gender-based violence is everyone's business by Debbie Hall. The scale and prevalence of gender-based violence means that tackling this issue is everyone's business. That was the message during the 16 Days of Action campaign. West Lothian Council is working alongside multi-agency partners as part of the West Lothian Gender-Based Violence Committee, with the goal of improving the shocking statistics around gender-based violence. The local campaign started last week with a march from West Lothian College to West Lothian Civic Centre, where a 1-minute silence was held to honour women and children across the world who have lost their lives to gender-based violence. Following the minute's silence, those in attendance heard a series of empowering speeches collectively highlighting the plight of women and girls who face violence and harassment. A series of local events are taking place during the campaign. Help is available for anyone experiencing gender-based violence or domestic abuse through the specialists in the Council's Domestic and Sexual Assault Team and West Lothian's Women Aid. Contact the assault team on 01506 281055 or dasat@westlothian.gov.uk or West Lothian Women's Aid on 01506 413721 or info@wlwa.org.uk for confidential and friendly support. In an emergency, always call the police on 999. And this article is accompanied by several huge pictures of the people out who are demonstrating and highlighting the issue. And in fact, in front of the college, there is 3 huge posters, and the main one, it says 16 Days of Action, Changing Attitudes, Changing Lives. And alongside that, there are the pipe band who obviously were there supporting this action, and several other charities, Smile for Counselling and against a group against domestic violence. So it seems to be well turned out and well supported.
The headlines: restrictions imposed at library amid fears over antisocial behaviour. A West Lothian library will be restricting admission to keep customers and staff safe in the wake of ongoing antisocial behaviour. Starting on December the 6th, the Simpson Library, Bathgate, will only admit registered library members from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. on Fridays. Library customers are asked to bring their membership number when utilising library services to ensure safety of staff. The tightened restrictions will be enforced every Friday during a trial period beginning this week. This comes after the nearby Jim Walker Partnership Community Centre has dealt with antisocial incidents after dark. Bathgate Police said that they are monitoring antisocial behaviour in the area and that people caught committing a crime will find themselves arrested. A message sent to library customers said, "Unfortunately, over the last few weeks, Jim Walker Partnership Centre has been experiencing some antisocial behaviour in the evenings. In order to keep our customers and staff safe, it has been agreed that between the hours of 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. on Friday evenings for a trial period, the library will only be available to registered library members. Please note that you may be asked to show your library membership to gain entry to the centre." This trial period actually started on this Friday, 6th of December. Residents took to social media to voice their response to the crackdown. One local said, "Seems totally fair." Another penned, "I think that's a good decision. Keep people safe." A third shared, "Just arrest the little S. Bleep, 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 bleep. Problem solved." A West Lothian Council spokesperson said, "Unfortunately, there have been a few incidents of antisocial behaviour at Simpson Library and the Jim Walker Partnership Centre in Bathgate recently. The library operates on a self-service basis between 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. on Fridays, with no dedicated library staff on site. To support staff and customers, we have asked library members who wish to use the library during this time to bring along their membership number for a trial period. We hope this will prevent further incidents while steps are taken to address the issue and ensure access can be maintained for library users." Police Inspector Murray Legg said, "We know that tackling antisocial behaviour is a key priority for residents of Bathgate. Reports of antisocial behaviour are always taken seriously. Those involved in this type of behaviour should have more respect of their neighbourhoods in which they live. We work closely with partners as we are acutely aware of the upset that any form of antisocial behaviour can have within a community. We have officers patrolling in the area, and anyone caught committing crime may find themselves arrested.
Council absence levels blasted as nearly 20,000 days are lost to sickness, by Stuart Somerville. Concerns have been raised over a continuing rise in sickness absence across West Lothian Council. The latest figures showed almost 20,000 days lost between April and September to mental health and behavioural reasons alone. That is more than double the time lost for the next highest category, musculoskeletal, at 9,948, and accounts for almost a third of all absences over the period this year. The 19,691 days lost prompted the Council's Conservative group leader to ask, when are we going to change? Claire Wallace, the interim HR Services Manager, told a meeting of West Lothian's Corporate Policy and Resources Policy Development and Scrutiny Panel, it's a national trend. We're not alone. This is seen right across the board. Councillor Damien Doran-Timpson asked, I note that sickness, when comparable to this time last year, is greater and with a huge amount of absence for mental and behavioural. What are we going to do moving forward? When are we going to change what we're actually doing to stop this increase of absence from council staff? Ms Wallace said, there's a number of things that we are doing at corporate and service level. Mental and behavioural is by far the highest. Personal stress is a significant factor, and obviously it's difficult to influence that. However, we provide a range of support services, including our Employee Assistance Programme. We're reviewing our sickness absence policy. We've gone through engagement and are now into consultation. We're hoping that will have an impact. She pointed out that the Council had won accreditation for its policies on allowances for staff who have caring responsibilities. One of the highest reasons for personal stress has been care responsibilities. The Council has developed flexible working to help people manage responsibilities and is also rolling out a stress audit tool trialled by staff in the advice shops to other Council services. She said a number of the measures in the People Strategy are aimed at improving well-being. We're improving the wellbeing framework, reviewing the mental wellbeing policy to try and take a more holistic view. In operational services, there are schemes which are looking at men's mental health. Chairing the meeting, Council Leader, Councillor Lawrence Fitzpatrick, said, as an administration, we seek the best working relationships with our unions and all staff, and we accept that certain people can come into difficulties at certain points in their life. But we continually look at and revise our policies to try and get people working and being effective. A breakdown of the mental and behavioural absences showed that personal stress was the main reason, with 8,457 days lost between April and September. Work-related stress accounted for 3,265 days lost. Other lost days in the category included anxiety at 3,921, depression at 630, self-harm at 183, panic attacks at 150, and alcoholism at 132. After the meeting, Councillor Doran-Timpson told the Local Democracy Reporting Service, the continuous rise in sickness absence is not acceptable. The Council needs to address this and identify why this is happening. It's repeated every time the sickness levels are reported to elected members that there are processes in place and all is being done. Quite obviously, this is not working, and the Council have a duty to their employees and the taxpayers of West Lothian to bring the sickness levels down drastically.
Festive season is in full swing at the Centre Livingston by Debbie Hall. With the Christmas countdown well and truly on, shoppers were in full festive swing when our Style Squad team caught up with them on their recent visit to the Centre Livingston. With over 150 stores to choose from, including M&S, River Island, H&M and Waterstones, and so many great places to eat, the shopping centre has everything you could possibly need when it comes to ticking off presents for your festive list this year, and when it comes to treating yourself too. If it's a sparkly party outfit you're looking for, check out the stunning variety of sequin dresses in lots of different styles, like mini cute ones with bows, gaiter, shift and bodycon in stores like River Island. And if it's a sequin suit you fancy, M&S has a stunning one in black and dark green. To add glitz and glamour, there's so many stores to pick up some statement accessories, which are guaranteed to add some festive cheer, including H&M for rhinestone drop earrings and New Look for bags ranging from clutches with bows to quilted velvet crossbody bags. It really was a mixed bag when we asked visitors this week about their purchases and shopping plans for the day, with one couple popping in for Christmas gift inspiration and others buying lots of great surprises for friends, partners, family members and colleagues. As a big thank you for sharing their stories, they all received a £25 gift card to treat themselves. First up on our rounds was to say hello to Kelly Smith from Bathgate, who had a very productive shopping spree in Primark, snapping up lots of family gifts, including pyjamas and beauty sets. Next up on her agenda was to stop off at Costa's to refuel with a well-earned coffee and cake. Primark really has got Christmas all wrapped up this year, with everything from vanity cases and performance clothing for gym goers to makeup and trendy accessories for those fashionistas on your list. It's definitely worth a visit. Susan Rose from Bathgate had been friends with Kelly for over 25 years and enjoys nothing more than to spend a day out with her at the centre, Livingston, where they love getting the chance to catch up without the kids and treat themselves to either coffee or lunch. It was lovely to hear Susan and Kelly reminisce about their teenage years when they would visit the shopping centre and still enjoying doing so today. They both managed to tick a lot of prizes off their festive checklist, which includes a few great deals from Boots, and at the same time enjoyed some quality time together. It was an absolute joy to catch up with twins Kelly Milne and Sian Davidson on our travels around the shopping centre, who were telling us about their annual Christmas shopping trip, which started off many years ago as a special day out that their mum and gran enjoyed. Keeping the tradition going, the sisters now make the trip down from Murray with their mum for a day at Christmas shopping and treat themselves too. The twins, who teach at the same primary school and love everything about Christmas, had a very successful day picking up gifts for family and friends from shops including H&M and Primark, with PJs being a popular purchase for everyone. They also treated themselves on the day, especially Kelly, who purchased a stunning Christmas dress in H&M and a blazer. The sisters, who enjoyed a delicious lunch at Denise's, with plans to pop into even more stores, including one of their favourites, JD Sports. Kelly said, "We've had a great day out at the centre, Livingston, which is something we do at this time of year. We love all the shops, the atmosphere and the ease of getting here. And of course we highly recommend Denise's to anyone looking to refuel a well-deserved shopping spree with toasties, and they were amazing." Mother and son Kirsty and Jamie Meldrum from Livingston like to spend a day out shopping together at stores like River Island, Flannels, then pop into Wagamama to enjoy a bite afterwards. Kirsty said, "We live locally, so the centre Livingston is very handy for us to nip into for everything we need for all occasions. Although today's visit was to check out the new Sorstrin Generous store, which we loved. I've managed to pick up lots of nice bits and pieces like wrapping paper." And this article is accompanied by about 5 or 6 pictures of all the people holding up their shopping bags and with smiles on their faces from Primark, Boots, New Look, lots of other stores, H&M's. And in the centre, it's got the picture of the massive Christmas tree bedecked with red baubles and a Christmas parcel which is all lit up. And that parcel stands about 10 feet tall. It's absolutely festive and magnificent.
We have now come to the end of part 3, and in part 4 we will tell you the answers to the quiz and some sports news will be included. Welcome to part 4, and we will complete our recording today with some sports news from the Courier as well as general news, but first of all the answers to that quiz. Question 1. Which inland sea is bordered by Bulgaria, Romania, Turkey and parts of the former Soviet Union? It is the Black Sea. Question 2. By what name is Nacre popularly known? That is mother of pearl. Question 3. With which alcoholic drink is the town of Cognac associated? That is brandy. Question 4. Which charity is represented by the initials NSPCC? That is the National Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Children. And last of all, of which British city was Joseph Chamberlain mayor? That city was Birmingham. So all 10 questions from the quiz today, and I hope that you were successful there. We will now continue with general and some sports news, and Jackie.
Thank you, Joyce. Headline: School leads the way in supporting ADHD kids, and by Debbie Hall. Dedridge Primary School in Livingston has been awarded the prestigious ADHD Friendly School Award by the ADHD Foundation for their work with children with ADHD and other neurodevelopmental conditions. The staff at Dedridge Primary School have really considered the needs of their children with ADHD and have created an environment which is both supportive and inclusive. The school has considered all the main barriers to learning for children with ADHD and has sought to address them in their everyday practice. In particular, the whole staff team have accessed training around understanding and supporting ADHD. Supporting the movement needs of young people with ADHD was a key feature of the submission for the award. Daily movement opportunities and movement packs are provided to each teacher, containing a range of resources for every classroom to encourage movement-based learning. This is structured into the timetable of each day and combined with opportunities for self-calm and reflection. However, a key feature of the school's submission for the award was the establishment of an inclusion group of pupil champions in the school. Children with a range of learning differences are encouraged to talk about their experiences in school and to inform and educate their peers through planned assemblies on the diversity of different minds within the school. The school has also done an incredible job of celebrating neurodiversity through their displays, which showcase and promote the positives of ADHD and other conditions. Parents and carers of children with ADHD and other neurodivergent conditions have also been well supported within the ADHD support group established by the school. Mrs. Creeves, Support for Learning teacher, said, "As a school, we have observed the improvement in engagement and focus of all pupils when adopting the movement breaks and strategies we have embedded into our practice. Our inclusion group have led changes within the school and are developing practices and supports for all neurodiversity." Rebecca Nichols, Pupil and Inclusion Ambassador from Dedridge Primary, said, "I like that we are helping people with neurodiversity because I have ADHD and it makes people like me feel like we matter." Colin Foley, the training director of the ADHD Foundation, said, We are very excited to see the range of opportunities that Dedridge School offers. The voices of children with ADHD are listened to and valued. This is both a nurturing and stimulating environment, and we thank everyone involved. The ADHD Foundation, based in Liverpool, works in partnership with individuals, families, doctors, teachers and other agencies to improve emotional well-being, educational attainment, behaviour and life chances through better understanding and self-management of ADHD, autism and related learning difficulties. And this is accompanied by a photograph of the head teacher of Dedridge Primary, Mrs. French, pupils Rebecca Nichols and Eve Codona, who are representing the inclusion ambassadors of the school, and support for learning teacher Mrs. Creeves, and looking very proud of themselves and all smiling lovely.
Christmas concert. Bathgate Band is holding its Christmas concert on Monday, December the 16th at 7 p.m. at St Mary's and St Columba's, Livery Street. It will feature Bathgate Youth Band and Bathgate Buzzers, with special guests, Bog Hall and Bathgate Youth Pipers. Tickets are £5 and under fives go free. The tickets can be purchased on the door or visit bathgateband.org.uk. The band will also play at Livingston Designer Outlet on Thursday, December the 19th from 5 p.m. and Morrison's Bathgate on Sunday, December the 22nd from 12 p.m.
Warm Hubs open by Debbie Hall. There are a number of locations across West Lothian offering a warm welcome this winter to anyone who needs it. As the temperature drops and people find it harder to afford to heat their homes, there are a number of places where anyone can go to warm up. These are offered by a wide range of organisations and can also provide access to practical advice and support, a listening ear from friendly volunteers, and sometimes even a cup of tea or something to eat. Please note that the locations may differ in terms of the services on offer and the times they are open, and some may also ask for a small donation or a fee, so please check before travelling. If you need a warm and welcoming place to get out of the cold, please visit www.westlothian.gov.uk/warm-welcome to see an interactive map of community places.
And this is sports news. Broxburn hit by last gasp equaliser by Paul Thompson. Broxburn athletic boss Stevie Pittman was left gutted after losing a late leveller to Stirling University on Saturday, but admits a draw was a fair result. The Alban Park side were on course for 3 points in the Lowland League after Darren Dowie struck in the 88th minute to add to Kyle Bell's strike that had them 2-1 up. However, Uni equalised in the second minute of stoppage time when Sam Martin pounced on an error from Brock's goalkeeper Jordan Pettigrew. Pittman, whose sides clash at Albion Rovers on Tuesday was postponed due to a frozen pitch, said, "It was a disappointing goal to lose. I've seen it back a few times. The keeper has put up his hands for it, but it is just one of these things that happens." When you lose a goal in the last minute, you are always going to be gutted. Everyone makes mistakes, but when a goalie does it, it stands out a lot more. I think it was a fair result. I don't think we were far better than Stirling, and there wasn't much between the teams. When you've got 3 points in the bag and that happens, it is disappointing. It's now 3 league games without a win for Brox, who sits 6th in the table ahead of Saturday's trip to East Stirlingshire. Pittman added, "I don't know what's been happening. I can't put my finger on it. We are still making chances, but we are just not finishing them. I would be concerned if we weren't making chances. We are not being ruthless like we were earlier in the season. Errol Douglas is not in the team just now with his injury, but there's a wee something missing at the moment. If we keep making these chances, they will turn into goals. Errol will be out for another 2 to 3 weeks, so it will be after Christmas before he is back. We had 2 games that went to extra time in recent weeks, and we look a tired team just now, so Tuesday's game being put off probably isn't a bad thing. Saturday will be a tough game. The teams below us are all fighting for their lives. We won't take anything for granted going there. We were comfortable the last time against Shire, 5-0, and started the game really well, but I think it will be a different game this time.
Another sports report. Ton's stalemate won't derail Livy's title push. Morton 0, Livingston 0 by Paul Thompson. Jamie Brandon insists Livingston aren't worried about falling 8 points behind championship leaders Falkirk because there's still plenty of football to be played. The Lions were held to a 0-0 stalemate at Morton on Saturday, while the Bairns ran out 3-0 winners at home to Raith Rovers to take a commanding lead at the top of the league. Falkirk have played a game more than Livy, and there's still 21 games remaining in the campaign. So Brandon believes there's no point in worrying about the gap right now, despite drawing for the 6th time this season. He said it's a bit frustrating not to get the win. Capulo's a notoriously hard place to come, but we created enough chances to go away with the 3 points, but unfortunately we've not taken them. If we take one of our chances, it's a different game, and we'd kick on from there, but we weren't able to do that. If we can be more clinical, then we'll go on and win games like this. The season still has a long way to go, and I don't think there's much point in looking at the league position just yet. We need to do the best we can. If we take our chances, we will be in a better place. Defensively, we've been solid and control large portions of games. So we need to make the most of it when we're on top in games, and if we take our chances, we'll be in a lot better place. We've just got to focus on ourselves, be the best team we can be, and if we do that, we've got a right good chance. Livy's best chance of the game fell to substitute Lewis Smith when he ran in on goal, but was denied by a last-ditch tackle from Zach Delaney. Brandon added, the Morton player did tremendously well to get back there because when you see Smithy break through, you've got full confidence in him to take the chance. Unfortunately, he's not been able to do that, but hopefully the next chance that falls to him he'll put away. Livingston will now need to lift themselves for a Friday night clash under the lights at home to Partick Thistle. The Jags are 4 points behind David Martindale's men in 4th place and go into the match off the back of a good 1-0 win over 2nd place Ayr United last week.
Rose boss rages after shock loss at Cowden. Raging Linlithgow Rose assistant boss John Miller blasted their completely unacceptable performance at Cowdenbeath as they fell to a shock 2-0 defeat at Central Park. There are 10 places between the sides in the Lowland League, and Miller apologised to fans for the display against a side in the 15th place. He said, it was completely unacceptable from start to finish. It's as poor a performance as I have seen from a Linlithgow Rose side since we took over. There are no excuses. I thought the pitch was in fantastic condition for a mid-December game, so that is no excuse in any shape or form. We just didn't play on and off the ball. Decisions were poor. Technical ability was poor. There was a lack of desire. We couldn't win second balls. We couldn't win first balls or 50-50s. I'm struggling to find pass marks, and Cowdenbeath thoroughly deserved it, and we need to remember that was a Cowden team down to bare bones. Apologies to the travelling fans because 2-0 didn't flatter Cowden. That was not a Linlithgow Rose performance. Rose has host third from bottom Broomhill on Friday night after Tuesday's clash with Hearts B was postponed due to a frozen pitch. Miller added, "There is no single bad team in this league. If you do not turn up and you are not professional in your approach, you will lose the game."
We have come to the end of our broadcast for this week and hope that you found it enjoyable and informative. Please put your memory stick back into the blue wallet, change the address label and pop it into the postbox. Remember that our wallets should only be posted in a postbox and not taken to a post office. This will be the last recording for 2024. So, on behalf of all the Boomerang volunteers, I would like to wish you a pleasant festive season and all that you'd wish yourself for the year to come. Recordings should resume early in January 2025. So, until next time, take care, stay safe, and very best wishes from Team 4.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.